I'm starting back at the top now. Politics, right? We have a new mayor in Joburg. We have a new mayor. Have you seen that clip from Breakfast Club? Who these niggas?
Who's this nigga? I didn't even know the party has 250 followers on Twitter.
But 250 followers on Twitter.
Yeah, we got 20 times more.
What is it? Al Jamaa, eh?
Al Jamaa. Yeah, it's an Islamic.
Tapelo Ahmad.
Yeah,
Tapelo Ahmad.
I think he's a Muslim.
Yeah.
So it's like a very Islamic, pro-Islamic type of ideology.
Yeah, it's an Islamic party.
It's an Islamic party.
Out of Cape Town.
Yeah. It was founded by something
in
Fredericks.
2013, I think.
Yes.
2013.
Yeah.
Somewhere there.
Yeah.
So they've voted this guy in.
Voted like into out.
I think ANC and EFF didn't contest.
Yes.
They didn't put a candidate forward.
Yes. So they put their weight behind
this guy.
In particular ANC, yeah.
And got put out.
To get him put out.
And she's quoted saying that she's not gonna fight this in court because she was taken out lawfully.
Yeah. Because the other one she wanted
of what?
Motion
of no confidence.
Because the previous one they got her out, but there was a technicality in the process.
Yes.
So she was supposed to be reinstated.
Yeah, if they want, how about the whole non-fun?
But they'll find a way. Any company.
But now, from the articles that I read, they're not being clear as to exactly what it is they had a problem with about her administration. They're just like speaking very vaguely, like she was destabilizing the council's infrastructure plan. She also...
operation. How fitla and you disturb the peace?
Out here discovering fake employees.
Discovering the good employees.
How dare you?
How do you think we're finding our elections when? So that was that, yeah. So now we have a new mayor.
That's upsetting.
Yeah.
What?
The fact that a person can't clean up.
No.
Yeah, it is.
You step on too many toes when you want to do the right thing.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, we were talking about this the other time. 100 worker, like if you look at the taxi industry, you can come with something that says, I'm gonna, like, think about how routes are structured. Like, in most taxi routes, there's no route from the hood to the working center, either Randburg or Sentin. Like, there must be down first. But when you look at the distance, like, if I had to just create a direct route from Alex, okay, maybe Alex is an anomaly, it's close to thing, like from Snawan to Randburg, right?
Because you're connected.
But because here's the thing, unfortunately, about human beings is that an economy has been created out of corruption or inflation or ignorance of people. Whether you like it or not, 10 people were being fed by this system. If you come and say, I can save money by actually making sure that only 3 people do this, what do you think the other 7 are going to do? It's an unfortunate thing that you are coming to do the right thing, but now there's already an economic interest that has to be protected, even if its existence came through corruption or unfairness. Sometimes not even corruption, it's monopoly. That's what monopolies do. It was a monopoly. They exploited a certain law, like you had, like Ntotsa Eskom, like the Evergreen contracts. There are companies that entered into contracts that are 99 years. So in other words, it doesn't matter which government wins the day.
And those elections are not anonymous, huh?
They are not. They are not. Aren't they like Parliament? Parliament is anonymous when they do a vote of confidence against the president.
But was this one?
I would imagine
because I'm trying to figure out how, and it ties back to that thing that I've been trying to advocate for now, where like there aren't enough people with good principles in the decision-making structures, or at least the people that are doing the voting. So now if the amount of corrupt-minded individuals outnumber the people that are actually trying to do right by the people, then you always get these sort of decisions that are happening.
For sure.
Meaning that there aren't enough good-minded people that are participating within those
Evil prevails when good
within
men.
those structures. Yeah. So now what I'm thinking is that now, as a party member, you have to toe the party line, I guess.
Yes.
But you only toe the party line if the party knows which way you swing.
Yeah.
And that's why some people will fight for the ballots to be open,
Yes.
Yeah.
so that we can victimize those who do not
Who
tie
do not, yes.
the party line.
Yes.
Whereas
TG,
if it's a closed ballot,
Then you don't know.
you could say one thing,
yeah.
but I'm still voting for Mpo to stay
Yeah.
because I'm actually against what
My party's doing.
my party's doing.
Yeah.
But then maybe it's one of those where simply because you're ANC, like you vote as a party to say, okay, we have of the 50 people here, ANC has 30 people, and all of them are saying no to Mpo.
Yeah,
And already because they're in the majority, it means no to Mpo.
yeah.
It doesn't have to be individual votes that determine that we're saying no to Mpo. And now if
No,
it's
but
the
it is-
ANC
it is-
and the EFF are now.
But it is individual votes.
But what I'm saying is maybe it wasn't individual votes. Maybe it was a party vote.
No, it was
No,
individual
It's
votes.
individual
It's a
votes.
party mandate, but it's still an individual
Get the
vote.
councillor to vote down. The councillors
But
vote.
they may have a mandate, yes.
Right, yeah. The councillors vote. So we could all meet and say, guys, we are voting against this woman. And then,
Yeah, what Maurice is saying is important because this guy
you see, so if you don't get the opportunity to do that, and if it's open, the fact that we look one on is going to become known.
yes,
It's going to
yes.
become known, and then
You'll be victimized.
you will be victimized.
So we would
Then you cross the floor to that.
that's
party.
why they always fight for it to be open, so that they can see. They want visibility to see who is not join the party line.
because if you look at the vote here, this guy, he came from nowhere. There was a mandate to vote for him. For whatever agenda, we don't know. I'm just saying, just make a note. We just need to check. I know, like the vote of no confidence in Parliament and the legislature, it's supposed to be anonymous, but apparently there's a way that the parties can still check themselves. Let's just have a
fact check.
yeah, just check that. But the other thing, Kintu ya hore, on one hand, let's say there can be, like about a lot of criticism that we have against the NC, whatever. I'm like, but the people that are MPs are not dumb, right? We just know that there's patronage that happens. So sometimes the conundrum comes where doing the right thing as an individual is still wrong for the system that accommodates me, right? So in other words, I may still truly believe that the ANC is the rightful party to govern. I may not agree that the current candidates or the CEO of a company is the good one, but I still believe in the campaign, right? And I know that there's always seasons that change. Now, whenever there's a vote of confidence, sometimes I'm caught up between voting for me agreeing with the opposition about the incumbent. I agree with the opposition that this guy must be voted out. But I also realize that having this guy been thrown out gives these people a campaigning card to now attack the party in the next elections.
Which can then
mean that the system in itself gets weakened in some way. So there are people that vote that it's still an embarrassment. It will be an embarrassment for the first ANC president to have been impeached.
Which then highlights the problem with our democracy.
Yeah, and our voting system.
Yeah,
our election system.
because we actually have people who don't have the nation's best interest at heart. It's the party.
Yes.
It's a party, because if you really cared about us, you wouldn't worry whether your party's position is weakened or not.
Yeah.
Because the net effect of what you're trying to bring forward is positive.
Yes. But because that is also happens to be your job, you see?
That's the
You
problem.
see? Yeah. So the problem is that because your bag is not divorced and separate from your politics.
Hence the call for the professional class to go in, because
Yeah.
the professional class, when they go in, these are 9 to 5.
Yes. They're doing this thing as a contribution to society.
Whereas these politicians,
It's career politicians.
career criminals.
Yeah, career criminals.
Sound check. Excuse the noise.
Excuse the noise, yeah, they're doing sound check. Yeah, if you have to put it blatant.
Yeah, they're career criminals.
Yeah.
So it means that the parties have been left to the career criminals.
Yeah.
Because we're too busy focused on other things.
Yeah.
So basitse bale banda.
Yep.
Ba votela na bale ba.
Ba rotatana.
Hey. You look at your notion, your local municipality or just regional elections.
Yeah.
Or regional conference.
Yeah, these local
provincial conference. Look at the candidates.
Yeah.
You know who the crooks are in your region. Wabatsi. Umona emira. Chairperson. Chairperson. It's like this nigga
is a chairperson.
Like nahana bokini kunene kiri councillor.
Yeah, but he is because you don't care about politics.
Yeah, you don't care about politics. That's why he's a councillor.
That's why he is. You don't care because the first thing is that think about politics. Because the other thing, politics is a dirty game, right? You look at this guy that like my life has been naked all my life. I've been criticized left and right. I've been called all these things. You still have something to protect about your image, so you don't want to enter politics, right? Because you haven't. The character of politics is that there's gonna be mudslinging. So you still care about your image. That nigga doesn't care. He went and made his own money. He's not dependent on a corporate to make his money.
Yeah, like what's upsetting is that you know these niggas.
Yeah.
You know these niggas. And like, yeah, it's even worse that like you're at an age now where these niggas are your peers. You drank with these niggas. You have mutual friends with these niggas.
You know they're thinking.
They have said things in your presence. You know what they do.
Yeah.
There he is. He's a regional chairperson now.
Something.
You know this nigga.
He's got an arithmetic chance of presidency.
Everybody knows this nigga.
His ways, his history. But what happens is that when good men choose to be silent or look, then evil prevails.
And that's what's happening.
So what happens that now the pool of options that we have as people that have to vote, we complain. Sometimes we complain about the system, right? And the other thing about Baba Tsukiwa and Chilongora, sometimes the one thing that's hard to fight is the system. Sometimes you have to be a sellout to win the system. But we don't package it that way, right? But if we are clear on the mandate, there are people in the struggle that had to pretend to the police force as if they are informers, if only to inform them about the wrong thing. Because the strategy, they know that the whole battlefield. So, but what is the behavior of an informant? So they will give you everything. You must look and behave like an informant so that we also understand the interrogation tactics of the enemy.
So, and you know the thing, bro, you run departments
in corporates,
and you run them well. You know very well how to balance resources, how to increase the likelihood of a success of a project,
manage people,
right? So you have the ideas, you know exactly what it is that it needs to be
concepts,
done. Yeah, but you're nowhere near the management of the country. You're not doing anything from that perspective, and the people that are running the country are people that wouldn't even last a second in corporate. They can't do anything,
and they're out here.
If you gave him a department in a bank, he'd run it into the ground. He doesn't know anything. Put these people in front of any political analyst or interviewer. He can't even hold his own.
That's what
on live television.
That's the mayor.
He doesn't know that's your fucking mayor.
That's your mayor.
He can't even hold his own.
That's your mayor.
He has no clue. The policies that they put in,
he does not know them,
are a stark reflection of his level of thinking. This Tottenham
1 billion.
That tells you everything you need to know about the kind of people that are running shit over there.
But it's still fucking though.
Yeah, it's still fucking.
It's still fucking because he's trying to because he brought it into the bigger thing as well. So
it tells you everything about you need to know, because in what world, right, where you've actually read the room, do you think it's okay to announce a $1 billion? Is
Bruh.
it 1 billion rand?
1 billion rand.
1 billion rand deal to go and sponsor
A mediocre English club.
how many Tottenham Hotspurs
Supporters,
fans do you know in SA?
Do you even know?
Those are the niggas you're gonna use to attract tourism to the country.
Yeah.
Re sena motlakase, ditsela di le mpe, diroboto di sa sebetse.
So,
Re sena
re
metsi.
sena metsi.
In fact, you should be embarrassed for even inviting people to your dirty house.
Even if you have a mandate and you are allocated a budget, if you were
The timing is wrong.
if you were a smart thinking individual, you wouldn't even if maybe you would have pushed the deal through, you don't go and do a press conference on that thing
Yeah.
because you know what it looks like.
Yeah.
Well, they were not going to do it in secret.
You know what it looks like. It's like, you know, at your company where when they report, you know, the interim financial results. You know, when you go and report, like to justify the bad bonuses that you're going to give people, you have to give bad results. So it means you're thinking about the things that you're going to have to do and say in the future. Even though, yes, you're going to, you know, a little fuck you by paying the execs.
Yeah.
You know,
Excess
but you know,
salaries, yeah.
C-suite executives that's just whether the
That's just how
company
it
doing
works.
good or bad. That's how it's going to happen. But how do you justify Mbali getting a subpar bonus? You have to prove that the company didn't do well.
Yeah.
So these tourists that we want, we're going to sit them in the dark, not give them water, make them drive on our shit roads.
You know, somebody was saying yesterday at that thing that we were at.
Yeah.
Are you know, they could have cricket.
Yeah. Because
The national cricket team is
it's
travels all
traveling
over the
to-
world.
Yeah, he was saying if your objective
Is
is
to-
to target overseas and Europe, he's like, but you've got the cricket. South Africa has got a good cricket
We do.
team and rugby that are already all over Europe. So you can actually put this on the back of your own.
Of your own. That's
Of your
going
own
to cost
shares.
you a whole lot less.
Yeah.
This just sounds like that flag story. It's just another way to eat.
But it goes back to what I always say, Hore. Whenever these stories come out, and we are at polar opposites with politicians, right? So politicians, their electioneering ticket is that I wanna have a fair chance at running a public office because I care about the country. When the truth is that they care about their pocket, right? Then whenever a scandal happens, we argue things so much from logic. Ne? But they have an agenda. So to them, it doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense, right? Because we are always going to talk past each other. Everybody knows that this is a bad deal. You don't even have to be in marketing to know this. Everybody knows. So if everybody knows, I know that you know. I know that, as I'm looking at you, you can be an accountant, but I know you know this is a bad deal. You can tell this to kids that are in matric. They know this is a bad deal. So it's not lost on me that you also know that it's a bad deal. But now what is clear is that you are hijacking the country. It's not that you can't use those words. That's what you are doing. It's robbery. Because it shows the mandate with which you came to the office for. Because the one thing that you want to realize that in that value chain of that billion, there's a consultant that maybe now the office is getting the heat, right? But what you start going to see in the next weeks, when the scrutiny, they want to start saying, who are the consultants on this? Who are advisors on this?
And whether this deal goes through or not, those fees still need to be paid.
Because now you've signed a contract, you can't go back. We've deployed resources in this. As whatever the agency that you've chosen, there's media buyers in this value chain that buy all these lots. There's a graphic designer who's whatever, you know, Tottenham Hotspurs, they've already briefed whoever is their kit producer that there's a new line that needs to come with the South African words. So there's a chain of events that have consequences from a contract point of view if they don't happen. So whether you like it or not, you've already lost the billion. So in this value chain, you're already the laughing stock. You've already lost because you're going to be getting sued from ear to ear. That's the reality. Mara, I'm just saying, we as a people, we must see it for what it is. Because
And I want to, Mutunan, that's pushing for the deal, whoever it is. Gima.
is it Brand SA or Tourism SA?
It's tourism.
Tourism SA.
Tomorrow when it's time for him to campaign for another position, what are the branches going to do?
You've shown us you've got the balls for this shit. You've shown us that you're about it.
In what world is Arun Mutshwaledi, Minister of Home Affairs, after what happened in the Department of Health?
Health.
How?
Because you keep rotating them.
How? People with tainted histories are still getting powerful positions.
And didn't they say that what's his name? Cyril was gonna out Lindiwe anyway.
In COVID,
so is this like her last
it's tourism. In COVID, you've got the guy who left as a minister of health running for number 1. And by the way, he did not lose dismally. he did not lose dismally, meaning he was not rejected.
Yeah, and you know what we always, I think I'm going to preach this every episode. We always forget, you know, you'll say that the ANC is rotten. The ANC is rotten, the ANC is rotten, the ANC is rotten. The people that are putting forth these candidates are your people.
You know them.
These are your peers, these are your neighbors. They are the ones in the branches. They are the ones voting for them.
Yeah.
So leave the top leadership alone. This nigga that you drink with week in out, he's the one the one that's voting for this nigga.
Like you've never been to a conference. You don't even know what it takes to go to a conference.
Usiaka siya conference.
In fact, you know what Maurice is saying? We've said it. Think about this. Remember I said, like, there was an episode where I said, sometimes because of the media in South Africa, I believe they still value from a brand and other aspirations in ANC, right? But what ends up happening is that the way that the media does is that they don't separate between tenureship or the incumbency. So instead of saying maybe Jacob Zuma is bad, they will say ANC is bad because they are trying to kill the system using a figurehead, right? But if you think about it, and you look at the urban voting bloc, and you're like, but gents, all of us here, already card carrying member. The office in the MB. We are not card carrying member of anything that can effect change. So then when you actually look at it, then you have to ask, the better question to ask is to say, how do you make sure that the voting pool in the ANC is the correct one?
It's a high quality.
Rather than saying, because to change ANC is going to be a very hard thing, bro. It's like it's an organization with a centenary behind it. It's like a company. It's hard to change those things, right? It's very hard. But what you can do is that you can say, okay, gents, you know, like people always talk about, like in the ANC, the KZN has got the number of branches, so they can be kingmakers. But you look at like the urban youth or whatever, and you're like, if you were to join ANC so that you weaken the strength of the rod,
yes,
you weaken the strength of the rod, maybe we'll have a fair chance at having a better candidate. You know, a candidate that can say, I know Cesar Ngasana was a CEO of First Rand Group. Maybe this is the guy we want as Minister of Finance. Because first of all, we know that he's not driven by the money. Right?
That's what we thought about Cyril.
Yeah, that's because he's not a real businessman.
That was my first thought.
Yeah, but that's another problem. The problem about him is that he's also not a businessman. But that's a story for another. But what I'm saying is that because we are trying to say, I get it as like the urban, educated, or clever blacks. We are saying, what are the demands that we are putting on politics? So we're saying one of them is competency. So when we look at competency, we are saying, okay, what is the ideal profile and a job description of a Minister of Finance for us to get Enoch Godongwana? We have, the incumbent is Enoch Godongwana, ne? But we don't know what the job description is. Does this guy understand Forex? Does he understand that, does he make a connection? Because maybe that's how you get this 1 billion. Does this guy understand already? The energy narrative affects Forex. Does he get it? We don't know. But maybe our reference point is that it's probably like, okay, there's a lot of niggas that have a corporate in finance that have retired. Why don't we push this guy as a candidate? But we are not doing that. So the rod continues to set the agenda for the country.
And we are the ones that let it happen.
Yeah.
We are the ones that let it happen.
So in some ways, that's why like the things with the media sometimes misguide the problem of South Africa. In South Africa, the problem is not the ANC, is the voter.
TG got back to us. So the votes are not anonymous because they're either electronically by voice or by having either their voice recorded by their respective whips based on the decision of the secretary.
So you can decode them.
Yeah.
Because it's my voice.
Yes.
But it's got a semblance of anonymity. But you can.
But your whip knows that
the whip knows, yeah.
The whip
okay.
knows, so
That it was you.
takes away the anonymity of it.
So
You see?
there's
And those are small things.
it's a small thing.
Those are small things you would just need to change. But how do you change them?
If Leonardo IT gurus
If you're not
are
even
not
there.
If you IT gurus are not there, it won't change.
And it makes you wonder, how come there's never... Everybody canvasses and campaigns for votes. But nobody is canvassing and campaigning to get more members on their parties.
Yeah.
Nah.
How come we
about
never
it.
see the political parties out here asking us to join the ranks?
Just as members.
They don't want you with your smart
They
mouth.
don't want us there.
They
Yeah.
don't want you with your...
They
They don't want you clever blacks in those ranks.
But we want the vote.
But they'll come and ask for your vote.
Yeah.
But it's very rare that they'll ask you to come and join the party. How come is that?
Your skills are needed.
How about food?
How does a municipality fail an audit, yet that community has produced auditors?
Well,
you see what I'm saying?
Somebody was telling me, because I went to Queenstown this December. So I drove through town and I saw a burnt out building in the city center. I don't know what building it was, like, you know what, the old architecture with the sandstone, infrastructure. And then later on, I was having a discussion with someone who were talking about municipal audits. And it turns out that the auditor was coming to Queenstown, and that's Kimaspalinda.
So they have to bend evidence.
Yeah, they burned the whole thing down.
Bingo.
By chase.
Because Masipa
Conveniently,
conveniently.
it caught fire. With all the documents in there.
We'll rather have the entire building burn. And the cost of rebuilding the business, the building is way more than the money you stole. But you'll rather that.
Sure. And we've been in Queenstown for ages, eh?
They were protesting. No.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying the question goes backward. Is ANC failing the country or are voters failing the country?
The voters, bro.
The voters are, because the media, remember, that's the unfortunate thing about South Africa, is that media has its own agenda because they have to make also the problem look black, right? So that they can't say it's black voters because they also wants black voters. So they won't put the blame on the voter, right? So they'll put the blame on the leadership of the ANC and by extension to the ANC. From a brand value, there's still a lot to extract from the ANC. But you don't, it's like a car, bro. Like, if we're not getting to the destination, we're looking at two things. Do we have a driver that's fit for purpose or a car that's fit for the trip? Driver changes often than the car. Because the car has a longer lifespan. A driver will always change. The problem, we've got the wrong driver. But the problem is that the passengers,
Ukhulele kahle ne
ganingi kanjani sigibela itaxi udriver asithuka ne arif chelte change ishort ke khukela mra, and nothing takes in our mind, like there's 15 of us in this fucking bus. How come the driver can talk to us this way? Like, it just doesn't click because you grew up with the fear you taxi driver heart in.
or like ukibedi taxi ebona ukuthi this thing is
But
not
your mind
working.
tells you like uthole khona bontate ekolweni and the taxi driver talking wild umuntu wamme, and you're like, actually, if you look at us, like, this nigga can get God, but like there's this fear of God about taxi drivers.
Because you've seen his
He can,
brand,
yeah,
man.
he like, now think about it, like people still count money in the taxi today, meaning they are still working when they are a customer.
I pay you, but you give me a job.
And here's the thing, if the money is short, it's your responsibility as the passenger. And then people wanna say the taxi industry is like, no, the passengers are the problem. Let's be honest. It's 15 of y'all. And you keep saying, no, this industry is not transforming. Because you know why? I like that analogy. There's simple things because you see the taxi owners in the industry, they are not afraid to lose it and go to the street. You as a passenger, you don't. So a taxi driver is willing to not make money for 2 days to show the economy, to teach the economy a lesson because he knows you will never take 2 days off your work.
And that's why the people who are willing to get up their asses to go and do something, they are the ones who are in control.
Yeah. Even if it's unpaid leave, you can't take 2 days to show the drivers that without us you have no business. Passengers have never done that. You are still paying cash in a taxi, but you could have long forced taxis to go cashless.
And the funny thing is, they did it in apartheid years. We used to boycott the buses.
They stay away.
We used to boycott them to bring the
changes we wanted,
industry to its knees, or to bring the economy to its knees.
Yeah.
And you can look at this problem at all levels, even with women. You know, I remember Melato was saying, women should just stay home. Maybe got Women's Month.
Hey, as a form of protest.
Yeah. Stay home.
You are not safe in this country.
Stay home. Sikai and spanning. Everyone from the top levels all the way to the...
From a female CFO, from a female CEO.
Yeah.
But you are saying we as women are making a stance.
The people who actually want to go and do something, they are the ones in
Prepared
control.
to do something. Yeah, you must be prepared to lose something.
And they are whose rhythms all of us will dance to.
Yep.
Because none of us are willing to do anything.
Yep.
You don't want to do anything.
You don't want to be... Kurwena, things must change.
You just talk, but you don't want to do anything.
Yes. I was going to come to
the poor are in the streets because
They have nothing to lose.
they have nothing to lose.
It's real, and it's real for them.
The rich are lobbying for their interests.
They've got something to lose.
They are there. The Guptas were there. They wanted to affect policy. The Ruperts, they are there.
Yeah.
They're rubbing shoulders with
Sometimes-
powerful politicians. Bo Edwin, they are there.
They are betting on both sides sometimes.
They are there. They are there when these discussions are taking place. But you are nowhere near those discussions.
You don't understand even the mechanization.
You're on
how it
Twitter
works.
and on podcasts, bitching
Like we are.
like we are.
Yeah, the finger has to point.
Yeah, you are nowhere. We are the only class that doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Facts.
But we comment. We are the political analysts. We are on the radio shows. We are the callers in on 702. Sela. With our education and degrees and our English.
Big English.
Big English. Le ba ba lebisang the news readers ba thola ka dirobotong. What do you think of the petrol price? And you're like, it's shit. Because we are consumers.
You see what this thing is doing now? Yaitela no. Yatawa no. Hey.
But I agree with Moody 100%. And I think we've said this one another. Like, let's be honest about the situation in South Africa. It is the black middle class that's failing the country.
Bro, there's a party I've been trying to join. It's been 2 months.
I haven't gotten back to you.
Do you know how cumbersome that process is?
Through the website.
Yeah. and I even suspect that they screen. They screen people. They probably look me up.
They
probably heard the things that I've said on here. They say, we don't,
And he's not hungry, this one.
This one is not hungry.
So he's not manable.
I've contacted niggas directly.
Yeah.
They don't want you, bro.
Who are in charge.
I think I know which one you're talking about because I also tried. I tried.
I'm struggling to get in.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to get in.
Yeah, because you know why you're not gonna get in. We can't rely on you to fill the bus when our leader is being accused of something to go make a sea of people at the courts because you have a job.
Hey.
You know the type we want.
I'm struggling to get in. So it's possible, very possible that they actually curating membership in the party.
Of course. Like, dude,
They are.
did you see Kai King? Was it the DA march to Lutuli House? Webo, Rob Hessoff were there, blah, 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 making, I've got strong views on that guy. Then I think there were people, either by the NC, that had to be the defense line against this DA. And then 2 days later, they were complaining, some of them got stuck in Joburg because the transport that was organized for them did not pitch. But in the news, they positioned as if these are people willing to die for the movement. But no, nigga, you pay these people. All you did, you went to the hood, You said, who wants KFC for the day? Right? I can fill up 50 buses if I want to, if I went to the hood. And I can fill a stadium. And even if people don't buy my ideology.
And think about how counterintuitive that whole thing is. The very thing that's affecting all of us. The DA is marching. Was it Lutuli?
Lutuli House.
It's going to Lutuli House to protest these power outages that are affecting every one of us.
To make it political, yeah.
If you were smart, you would let your leadership hang to dry. You leave them hanging. But really, because lelo nantse le la jwale ka rona. Le ntse le la jwale ka rona, le lona le batla motlakase. So just let them burn for one day. Leave Lutuli House unguarded. And let the DA niggas come there and do what they will. And maybe that will spur them in the right direction. But no.
You are manable because you are hungry. You are hungry. But because you are hungry, they will always have candidates who are willing to do that shit that you're not willing to do. But when not because of fundera cool, analysis.
It's like a kid coming back from being bullied at school. And you're getting tired of always having to fend for him because this nigga's just not growing the balls. You know? And then you're watching niggas, get them got. And you just stand by.
Sometimes
you just gotta stand by.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta stand by.
And this is somebody you love with all your heart.
So that he learns the lesson.
And this is somebody you love. You can't keep protecting him.
These guys can't even do that.
Like, Mbali, you think about this.
Whereas, sorry Tabang, whereas kabuhlala bahao, li tuto ya hao, you'd rather go join the DA. Because they speak the language they speak the English that you speak. But you forget that those people don't have your best interest.
They don't have your best interest.
There are smart people who still vote ANC today, who know what needs to happen to fix the ANC, who can acknowledge that the ANC is rotten. But will never go to DA because of what it represents.
Yeah, ideologically.
But when Abu Talibahau has blinded you to such an extent, there's not enough for you joining those ranks for you to effect any change, Gada. And for as long as not enough black people will join that movement for you to do anything.
Yep.
You have a better chance here.
You have a better chance of trying to resuscitate
convincing your own people.
Your own people.
But you see, it even goes to the point, you've already become disillusioned with your own people.
Yeah, because I remember when I was saying, even when it comes to when you look at education and when we were talking the whole thing about when we make it, we leave the hood and whatnot, it's so Soweto has produced economists. That's a fact. But there is no factory in Soweto. Right? Which is a concept of economy. But bread is consumed, but things are consumed in Soweto, right? But in the value chain, we still don't have a factory. Because what happens that the economist, when he became... Yeah, but what I'm saying is I know there's a production that happens in Soweto, right? But I'm saying, when I'm saying a factory, I'm just thinking well-known, mainstream. Industry. I'm just talking mainstream. Yes, there's a guy who's in Zelisingwa. But there's a guy who's in Zelisingwa. But I'm just saying, if you are saying, we know Randbeck runs call centers, right? We know it's there's an industry around it, We know financial institutions get born out of Stellenbosch. It's PNG, it's ABSA, it's First Rand. So when I say Stellenbosch, I don't mean there's no financial activities happening in other worlds. But I'm just saying, when you're looking at the consumer pool of Soweto that has produced intellectuals, economists, marketers, but I can't say Albany or something that can compete with Albany, which is everyday product, or Clover. There isn't any, right? But you've produced economists. But what then happens is that those economists went and sold their degrees to become employees to corporations, and everybody gets how they have to get it. I'm not judging that, right? But at some point, we need to press the pause button and say, is something worth it if it costs my people? It doesn't cost me. But is it worth it if it costs my people? Is it? So now you are having to fight. I've been struggling too. If somebody comes and say, I'm gonna buy the dojo because you all have to shut your mouth, I'm gonna give you 100,000. I'm telling you now, I will fucking consider it because I'm being realistic.
If what happened?
If somebody came and say, I'm gonna give these guys 100 million, I'm tired of what they're talking about because
shut the shit down.
Yes. I'll be lying if I say I won't consider it.
Nah, it's not even a matter of consider. I'm taking it.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But what I'm saying is that there are things that we now have to look at.
But I didn't hurt anybody.
I'm taking away.
Yeah, but for them, it's like, you wouldn't even take the money if it was 10 million.
Hey, man, I gotta buy for his family.
Somehow you need to justify your salaries. But my point is that.
Hold on.
I record that I didn't you. I record. I've seen it before. So my point is that at some point, all of us start needing to ask ourselves, and it's not about a judgment thing. That's like, I'm glad this is being brutally honest. Like, but then he has to say, what does me taking it mean? For somebody who was accessing an information that they believe was opening their heads about how they make certain decisions. Because that could be 100 million worth cost, but it's because it did not come in cash. We don't know how to value it. I don't know if Sikho had an access to this type of information, and the decision are the decisions that Sikho is gonna make worth 100 million because of listening to this. I can't quantify that. But if you put 100 million on the table for me to take, it's an easy arithmetic. I will run.